Hey y'all, how's it going?
Best for the save the last one. Best for last. What is this? What's the saying?
Save the best for last.
Thank you,
I'll
Jesus,
take
Bernie.
it. I'll take it. It's so great to meet the two of you. Obviously, I was sad at how things ended last night. You guys were eliminated way too soon, but I just want to
Way too soon.
way too soon. Before we talk about the episode, though, I do like to get a feel for where your relationship with the race originally started. Like, how long have the two of you been fans of the show? Have you applied multiple times together? Give me a little bit of insight into that.
When I was younger, I mean, I'm not that old, but when I was younger, I had watched a few seasons, but probably like the first, I don't know, like 5. So it was really, when Bernie had originally asked me, I was like, wait, like I've watched it. I wouldn't say like I was, by then I hadn't watched every single episode.
I personally I wouldn't say I was like an Amazing Race fan. I just love to compete.
Yes.
I love to travel. I love to test my body. So when I actually applied like 4 years ago with one of my football teammates. This is before I kind of really knew fully what they would look for when they're casting for this The Amazing Race. And when I found out they're more not looking for like competitors. I mean, they want competitors, of course, but they also want people that like have a relationship and know each other and have gone through hard things together.
Right.
So once I like learned that, I was like, oh, I have the perfect partner then. My girl Kerrigan. She knows me the best. She understands me the best. She lets me be my stubborn Bernie self the best. I think this is going to be a perfect match. A year before we got the call, we had actually went to Puerto Rico and we were going to record our audition tape. But if you know us at all, we talk a lot. So we took like a 3-hour video. And I said, girl, I am no videographer. I don't know how to crop 3 hours into 3 minutes. My head hurts. My brain hurts.
We're also ramblers too. So it's not like you can just find like one good sentence because it's like long story, short, long.
And I think everything we say is important. So I want to keep everything.
Wait,
Yes.
that's
I'm like,
hilarious.
girl, this is so hard. I don't want to do this anymore. We're going to have to come together again and re-record this because this is a lot. But I never submitted it.
A couple years later, they give her a call. They're like, we want to do this, bring on a different person. So then we did the interview process, but I felt like it happened so fast. I feel like we're interviewing and then all of a sudden we're at the starting line and I'm like, oh, I'm like on The Amazing Race. Like,
yes, that's when it starts to feel real.
It's happening.
Yes.
It's now, okay, it's real.
Like Phil is like standing in front of me. Like he's talking to me.
I messaged this to you, Kerrigan, but Will finally caught up, and every episode he's like, these two are literally perfect casting. Like, you two really did not shy away from who you were. You were unapologetically yourselves. Like, you guys really came, you showed up, and you competed hard. So let's reminisce on your time in Bali. At the beginning of the leg, at the pit start, unfortunately, you're a little too far behind the other team. So you're not able to get on that first flight. What was your mindset already going into this leg, knowing you're potentially hours behind every other team?
Well,
Stress.
we did still try. Like when we're at the travel agency, we checked the time multiple times because as you can see, like Han and Holden like really had that cut. So we were like, can we like catch them? Like what is like, we were Googling to see the traffic of like how long to get to the airport. Like, is this a flight that we can really, really like?
Even though they're saying we're not going to make it, can we really make it though? Just go ahead and do it. We missed the flight. We'll figure it out later over there.
But I'm thinking, okay, like, well, let's see where their flight lay over. There was like no options.
So we felt defeated. It was hard. I feel like we traded off on like who was being positive for the next 5 minutes and who was the DB downer, and then we'll like switch again. So like at one point I'd be like, no, girl, we got this. It's okay. It ain't over till it's over. And she's the one like tripping balls and saying, no, girl, it's done. And then she's like, no, we got this. I'm like, no, girl, Phil's gonna be there when we land. Like it's over. I don't know what you're talking about. And then I'm positive, and she was like, I don't know if I can do that anymore.
It's about balance. It's balance.
It's so much. It felt great when we got there to be like, none of you mojos can start till the morning, so let's go.
I bet that was such a relief when you got to that departure board. And I mean, your face, Bernie, I laughed so hard when you pulled the tent off and you like make this little face to the camera. Like, at least you're caught up. You may be leaving 10th, but you're all on an equal playing field
A
now.
number is a number. Like there was a number left.
Exactly.
It's not fuel. Let's go. We're still in it.
So the next morning, you receive that next clue that tells you, welcome to the jungle, race an ATV through the mud, and drive to a waterfall in order to get your next clue. How much fun was this ATV drive you did? I mean, Bernie, you looked like you were living your best life driving.
I was living my best life driving, okay? Kerrigan keeps saying it the best. Like, our cheekbones hurt so much because we
Oh my
cannot
gosh.
stop smiling. It was living a dream, and I was just glad that she let me drive. So, like, maybe she's going to want to
There's
drive.
no way I wasn't letting her drive. There's she would be glad. We knew if there was anything before we went on the race, any kind of driving, I was not doing. Honestly, it was the best and easiest challenge because I just had to hold on to the back. I just said, you drive. I just got to make sure I'm strapped. I said, don't even worry about me, girl. I'm locked and loaded.
I said good because we going and I'm not hitting no brakes.
What I like about these types of tasks, though, is everyone was having fun. And I feel like it's a moment that kind of takes you out of the race for a minute to really appreciate your surroundings and where you are. But then you get that next clue back to race mode. So I want to know, when you get to the roadblock and you see the driver's seat, did you expect any of the teams to give you the 25 pounds?
In what world does that make any sense
No.
as an amazing racer?
The
In what
only
world?
way I could see it is for somebody to give it to us is somebody who thinks that we can beat them physically, or somebody who we would have been close with as a sense of like, you know, like Jack and Carson said, we only had to beat Kerrigan and Bernie, right? And the first thing I could see it, if I'm 9th and there's another team that's 10, yeah, I'm gonna say, oh, I want them to go because I want to save me. So in that sense,
yeah, you're right.
in that sense, that's the only way I could see a team giving us that amount of a workload if they were really like, Bernie and Kerrigan are on my tail. If it comes down to a foot race, I know that I'm not beating Bernie. But for somebody who's so far ahead and someone that I feel like could have had other strong individuals that were closer to their tail, I don't know if that was the best choice.
Why would you also not want somebody at the bottom as an ally? Because if we could have made it through, we coming at y'all.
Yeah.
Now you have more enemies. I respect game because I'm a competitor. I'm cutthroat. If you're going to make a cutthroat move, do what you got to do. Win your money. I get it, but don't lie to my face and tell me you did it on an accident. That is where I get upset and I feel disrespected because now you are questioning or telling me I'm dumb or no. Like, we all know you know what you're doing.
That would have been a completely different leg for the two.
And according, though, to Jonathan and Anna, they also said they weren't going to give the harder workload to an all-girls team. We're women, dang it.
I just don't think the driver's seat was executed strategically, which was frustrating as a viewer and former racer.
In the ass.
Well, Kerrigan, you ended up doing the roadblock. How hard was this? I feel like every team struggled. And what was the most challenging part to this task?
It felt like it was never ending. Like I felt like I was kept going and kept going and kept putting rice in the bag. And I was like, nothing is happening, but I'm doing so much work. And I think in other challenges, it's easy to see how far you come. Like you're doing Pandora, you're doing something else. You're like, okay, half of it is built, half of it is done. But you saw a lot of teams like just going to check, like their 15 pounds or just going to check their 20 to gauge where you're at. And there was no gauge. In one sense, I was really lucky because when I came, I knew that Jeff had 25. And when I saw Jeff, I could see his bag. And I think he was about like maybe halfway by the time that I got there. So I could see like in my head already, okay, you have a lot of work to do. So that way I wasn't like putting, 10 pounds and being like, am I done? Yeah. I knew I at least had some sort of gauge of how much rice it was going to be. But honestly, it was just hot. I was so grateful for the hat actually, because it actually helped like block the sun and give you some shade. But I just felt like everything was just beating me down. If Jeff is struggling with 25 pounds, like I know I'm strong, but it's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be a battle, and I'm so mad at Jonathan and Anna. So now I have all this rage.
Well, you pushed through. You accomplished the roadblock.
Yes.
After the roadblock and you get to the detour, obviously there's a little bit of a miscommunication trying to find where to go. How long did this ultimately take the two of you until you finally were able to be on the same page and find the detour?
Too long. I don't know. I too long. Listen, maybe that would have saved us if we would have immediately found the right spot.
If we'd been closer.
We would have been closer and it would have given us a little bit more hope versus running around with her hair cuts off for like, I don't know, 15, 20 more minutes.
Well, you choose Pinjor, and just like the roadblock, you are there with other teams. So you're still in it. What was going through your head at this point, and did you feel like there was actually hope to ultimately catch up at this point?
I had a little bit of hope because I always have hope that and like you said, everyone was there, but they were quite far ahead in their project. So my logic side of my brain was also trying to say, like, girl, there's no way you catch up. You have to be perfect right now. And Kerrigan is tired. She's kind of angry at you. Her emotional state is no good. I don't know if this is really going to happen right now, but we got this, Kerrigan.
I felt the same, like when we got to Pandora, yes, there was other teams there. I mean, but they were putting on finishing touches. It's like watching a baking competition. These people are putting on fondant and we're like literally putting our cake in the oven. You know, like, yes, there's a chance, but I was just hoping, like, I think this is everyone's hope when you're on the show. Please get lost. Somebody get lost. Somebody get lost.
And they did sort of got lost, right? And I remember while we were building it, I could see even Scott and Lori got lost. You really never know what's going to happen in the race.
Well, I mean, like every team seemed to struggle because the last like 10 minutes were so chaotic with this like 6-team cluster of just racing to the pit stop. With all these teams checking in at the pit stop, do you know like how far behind you two ultimately were once you checked in?
I didn't even know they all checked in together. Like watching it last night was such a surprise for me because when we were zigzagging down, we saw Mike and Nick and Hunt and Holden at their detour, but I didn't really know where they were in that process. And then when we got to Pandora, we saw like, I feel like when we got to Pandora, Erica and Linda were leaving Pandora. Yeah, like it looks like we were there together, but I think when we got there was maybe like,
I think they were there, but again, a lot of the teams were pretty close to the end of finishing. So I think they left pretty quickly as soon as we got
there was a lot of people we missed. So I had no idea the place
that they got that lost too.
Yeah, I didn't even know that they had gotten that lost, which is crazy because that's the only place we didn't get lost. We went straight there. So like,
well, because we saw plenty of people. Okay, they're running down, girl. We better not get more lost over here. That's the other way. Keep going down. Keep going down.
I will say it was very evident as a viewer just how close the two of you really are. There's clearly a lot of history between the two of you. You can be vulnerable, you can speak freely, you can show your emotions, which I really admire about your friendship. So now that the race is all said and done for the two of you, is there anything you learned about maybe each other that you didn't already know?
We both really struggled listening to our intuition. And I think that that's really hard to see because we are really strong with like meditating and being in tune with ourselves and really listening and making the right choice. But I think for us, like, we just didn't really understand that the pressure of our internal pressure of like being like, we want to not let people down. We want to do the best for us, really mess up with our intuitive decisions. And I think that we should have just allowed ourselves to relax and have a little bit more fun in the competition so that we weren't so like frantic and making small mistakes that really cost us a lot of time.
Sure.
And for me, something I learned about just in general for us working, because again, we know each other pretty well.
Yeah.
But I need to be better because again, we haven't been in that type of stress. Like, yes, life is always lifing.
We've traveled competing.
And life is always lifing and we support each other in hard times. But that was just a different type of like stress. And just knowing that my partner needs, even though she knows that I love her and I believe in her and that she's strong, sometimes the way I say things or my actions may not tell her that. So reminding that I do need to give her words of affirmation and reminding her that like, no, I do need you. You are just as strong, to help her emotionally also be like, okay, we got this. I'm not letting her down. I can also do this. Because mental is a lot of the game. Yeah. It's not just about being physical. Like if we have our mind right, and that's something that I learned that I can help. Because listen, we're going to get our second chance. Okay, our journey's not over. We don't lose. We learn, and our journey hasn't ended. We're just taking a pit stop here.
I love that.
Yes.
We're taking a detour.
A detour here, okay? We're going to learn, and I'm going to be better. We're all going to together be better, be stronger mentally, physically, everything. And people are going to be in trouble. They better take us out sooner rather than later, or we're gonna be at the
No,
top.
don't,
Okay.
don't say that.
Amen.
You're not
Amen.
taking out too soon already. Don't take us out early.
Maybe don't share that with everyone, James.
We're alliances.
I'll cut it. I'll cut it. I'll cut it out.
Maybe don't share that with everybody.
Well, thank you for your time. It was so great to get a little bit more insight into your journey on this leg and your overall experience on the race. And I do hope that we can eventually meet in the near future. I'm sure we would have a lot of fun together. And just thank you for being you.
Thank you.
And thank you for having us.
Of course. And I'm sure I'll talk to y'all later.
Oh yeah, we're
the
gonna be
rest
in
of the day.
person.
Yes.
Near future, okay?
Bye, y'all.
Bye.